Hey, how are you? You hear me okay? Everything cool?
Hi, how are you? Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine.
Yeah, I've had a lot of microphone issues the last couple days. My
No, you're
computer.
you're fine.
Really convenient.
Thanks for meeting 30 minutes earlier. I had something
Oh,
come
of
up.
course.
I had something come up, and I was like, "Oh crap! Here we go. I gotta text Rachel. Here we go." And then here we are.
Oh, no, of course. Oh my gosh, no, I'm just moving into my house. And so
Okay.
I'm just like, yeah, all I'm doing is unpacking. So I might as well.
You Nashville?
Yeah.
So is your first house you're moving in, or is it just another house?
First house. I just moved to Nashville 2 months ago. And I
Okay.
just moved into my house a couple days ago.
So where were you before that? Were you at home with parents? Or were you in college?
I was in Atlanta. I was in Atlanta for the last 8.5 years.
Doing
So
doing what? The musician thing?
yeah, music full time.
Okay.
Yeah, so then I just moved here a couple months ago, and yeah, I feel like I've been putting off moving here for a while. I feel like I should have done it a long time ago, but
So when you say you're doing music full time, how is it enough to where you can make ends meet and not have to worry? Or is it like full time, but there's also a little part time job in there as well?
yeah, no, I actually someone asked me in an interview a couple days ago what I define as like being successful in
Yeah.
our like industry. And I think there's obviously different tiers of it, but like for me, being able to completely support myself with music and do it full time and have that be my only job, I would consider myself successful just by doing that because like you're saying, most musicians have more than one job.
That's funny that you mentioned how your success is because, I think kind of mine is a little different because it's like my success is if I'm making someone happy with what I love to do is talk, and I love to just talk about different genres of everything. And if I can make everybody happy and I can be happy, even though I have another job, I think if I was to die today, I would consider myself successful because I was way more successful than I was in school, when you got out. And I think a
Yeah,
lot of people don't see that they think success is Dwayne Johnson or, Emily
right.
Blunt. They think that's success. And I'm just like, some people's success may be to get married and have kids and live a life where they're just
Yeah.
working a regular desk job.
I know. I think that's such like a crazy thing to think about when people ask that question. And I love when people ask that question because it's so different from person to person. And I love hearing different people's answers because it's like success should really only truly be what you define it as, not as what someone else defines it for you. And so I think it's just so cool to hear what makes different people happy and like fulfilled and where they feel like they've hit a place where they're successful in their own situation. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy to think about how many people strive to be what successful is supposed to mean.
It's people, and they also think what's crazy to me is, besides the success thing, it's like you have a song on the radio or you're a musician, you are rolling in the cash. People think that
Yeah,
all the time, and I'm like, they come to me one time, and
no.
I'm pretty sure you're the same way. They came to me one time and they're like, "Hey man, pretty sure you can buy my groceries now," and I was like, "Dude, I could barely afford to buy my own groceries. So good luck trying to get me to buy yours." I'm- it's
You're
it's
right. You're like, fun fact, we don't get paid every time your song plays on the radio.
Fun fact, I got paid $25 for the entire year last year for doing a podcast. Fun fact.
Right.
So
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Like I get that question a lot from people too. Like, how much do you make? Like every time I listen to your song, how much do you make? And I'm like, you don't even want me to answer that.
if you want to be honest, you make 0.00001 cent per play. If
I
that.
know.
If that. So
It's
you can
like,
listen to it's like you can say, listen to my song, please, but you need to just like, I don't really give a shit if you listen to it or not. It's not gonna do a difference to me. I'm not even gonna get a penny of it.
I'm like, I mean, it's really only going to make a difference if you put it on repeat and then come
Yeah.
talk to me when you've streamed it personally 40,000 times. And then,
I don't know if I could personally stream even my favorite artist. I don't think I could stream like John Mayer or Kiss or Aerosmith 40,000 times. I don't think there's any way possible. I would get so sick of that.
I know. I'm like, I keep telling people, they're like, oh, I listened to your song today. Like, I hope, like, I hope which I love to hear, obviously.
Yeah, yeah.
You listen to my music, I love you forever. But I just think that it's crazy how that part of the industry is
Yeah.
not, widely known, or people don't, people don't say it out loud, because if you say it out loud, then it's like, oh.
But it's also crazy how people think in general. Like they think, let alone the music side, but it's just, they think, and I don't want to go into a whirlwind, but you kind of open the book up and it's kind of like, people think we come from this one side of, you know, politics. We come from this one side because, the school told you this happened in history, or it's just
Right.
crazy what people will believe, and crazy how they won't read into things, because it takes one biography, one story about a musician's life, and you're going to realize, oh, it's really not all dandelions and sunshine. It's really heartache and thunderstorms and lightning. It's really hell on earth to be a musician.
Majority of the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I just get so irritated with people because they're like, and I was talking to this one musician a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, how many times somebody has told me you need to get Garth Brooks on a song, and I'm like, I wish I could. And it's like same thing as like,
Right.
you need to get this guy on the podcast. I wish I was that
Like,
successful to where I could.
cool.
Same thing with
You're
you.
like,
You're
you know
like,
what? Great
cool.
idea.
Great.
Yeah, you're like, great idea. I never thought of that.
Why don't you reach out for me, and then when you get an
Yeah,
answer, that's fine.
let me know.
So
Let me know.
this opens up a whole new book of worms, because I had something kind of cool happen to me earlier today, and I want to know if this happened to you. Have you ever tried to reach out to a certain person and be like, hey, listen to this song, or would you mind doing this song with me? And then someone you always looked up to or just admired, and they kind of denied it. And you were just like, well, that's cool because they still know who I am.
Yes. I do that on Instagram sometimes. Like if I DM someone or comment on someone, or if someone likes one of my posts that I'm always looked up to or something, I'll be like, they know me. Maybe we're friends. Like maybe
Yeah.
maybe we could be friends.
Well, it's kind of weird because it's also like if I will send an email out to a certain person to, come do the show, yada, yada, yada. And then they reply with, not at this time, but later. And then you're just like, well, that's cool because at least they know the podcast name, they know where I'm at, and I've already been in their
Oh
inboxes
yeah.
and read. So it's like, in 6 months when I come back to them, because I'm the kind that you tell me to come back to you later, I'm not going to ignore it. I'm going to come back to you 2
Right.
months to the day you told me 2 months.
Right. Putting it in my calendar for
Yes.
2 months around the day.
12 a.m. midnight, the alarm is going to ring, and I'm going to hit that person. But
I've already have it drafted. I just have to hit send.
Yep. Yes. Like Steve-O reached out. I reached out to Steve-O from Jackass. And I was like,
Yeah.
come on this podcast, yada, yada, yada. Of course, I knew it was going to get a decline. You just know the people you're going to reach out to, and it's going to be a decline. You don't care. Dude, I got an email back, and he was like, I'm going to have to decline, but keep sending me. I want to see your success. And I was like, that is the coolest thing you can ever get. And I wonder, has an artist ever tweeted you or messaged you back and said, I enjoy what you're doing, I like what you're doing, keep it up?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Especially I've opened for a few people that I have looked up to, or that I love or would love to work with in the future and stuff like that. And then, open for them a few times, and then down the road, a year or so, or a few months down the road, I meet them again somewhere else, not necessarily playing a show, but like just, out somewhere or after their show or whatever the scenario may be. And they were like, hey, oh my gosh, so good to see you. Are you still writing? Are you still touring? Let's catch up, let's whatever. And it's nice because it's like, okay, I made a good enough impression as an artist the first time that, or even just as a person, that they remembered me. And it could, at some point turn into a working relationship, which would be amazing. And I feel like that's all that you can really hope for when you reach out to someone, or when you're talking to someone, just in general, that is levels above you. I feel like that's all you can really hope for, because you can't bank on them being like, yeah, let's write a song tomorrow, but like, I feel like having it be memorable and having them remember you and even talk about the opportunity about working in the future is a win, especially in our industry.
Social, I kind of define social media for musicians as kind of having a demo tape in your pocket and passing it to a musician when you see them. Like
For sure.
if you pass the Beach Boys, hey, here's my demo. It's kind of the same thing, because you're always going to send your Spotify link or your Apple Music link, be like, hey,
Right.
check it out. Because,
Right.
and it's like, they can't hate on it because 99% they did it too. Like, when people go,
for sure.
I hate when people will send me a song or like, hey, check this person out. But I'm pretty positive you did that as well, because
Yeah.
you love
Did
the
you
person.
forget that you were once?
My whole point here, and people don't see it when I'm like, did you not forget where you? I guess I don't like some people when they forget where they came from and they just make it look like I'm the coolest guy on the planet, which I'm not. I'm not gonna verbally abuse a jackass I
Name.
was a fan of, but it's weird. It's just crazy, and I hate that side. And that's another side of success that is terrible. It's
Oh yeah, and it makes me sad. Like, doesn't it make you sad when you realize that that's how someone really is?
yeah. It's there's a certain person here that is from my hometown, small hometown of Wiggins here in Mississippi, and they made it big in a certain bracket. Because there's only one person that said it, so I'm not going to say what bracket it was. But he made it big in this one bracket, and I was like, "Hey, man, I have the biggest show in Mississippi. Once you come on the show, um, I'm not. I wasn't like I'm not particularly a fan. I don't, but come on the show. We can two Mississippi Wiggins boys. We can get together. We can have a good time talking." And it
Yeah.
was kind of, yeah, man, let's set something up. And then I was like, okay, cool, set something up. There was no Zoom call, no telephone call. And I was like, okay, very professional of you. And then it was like, hey, man, we'll come to the show. Nah, man, I decline. I don't want to do it. And then the next day, he's like, I'm proud of where I come from. I'm buying people groceries at Walmart. I'm successful. I'm like, the fuck you are, dude. I hate you.
That's so disappointing.
Oh, man.
That's so disappointing. I also love how probably when everyone that listens to this that whole time was like, whenever they listen to it, they're gonna be Googling who that was. They're gonna try and figure out who you're talking about.
If they're on Facebook and they're friends with me on Facebook, it's probably not too hard to figure it out. When I said buying groceries for people at Walmart, that's every
Yeah.
day. That's not gonna be hard to figure out. You know, I wonder, but you wanting to be a hockey player growing up, how did that transform into music? And I'm pretty sure you're asked this all the time, but I have to do my job here.
Oh yeah. Oh no. So I grew up in Minnesota, which is
Mhm,
called the state of hockey.
mhm.
So when you are old enough to walk, you also get skates, basically, is how that works. And it's just sort of like
So,
an
let me
unspoken
interrupt you
thing.
real quick. If you don't know how to skate in Minnesota, you're pretty much an outcast.
Probably. I
Eh,
mean, if you don't know how to skate or if you don't play hockey, you're a hockey fan for
Okay.
sure.
Okay.
For sure. But yeah, so I started skating, I mean, when I could started to walk. And my dad played hockey all growing up and in college and all that kind of stuff. And my
Mhm.
mom is from Oklahoma. So she's like polar opposites. She's Southern country music, all the line dancing, all that kind of stuff. And so growing up, I had both of that, both of those things coming at me from each side. And, you know, from a young age, I was making up songs and putting on concerts for my family in the living room, and then, you know, going to hockey practice. So it was like always
But
intertwined. I was always trying
yeah,
to do both.
but where did that music bug come from? Did someone in your family play an instrument or was a musician at times, or
So
was it
my
just
Yeah, so I took piano lessons pretty much my whole childhood. And my grandma, my dad's mom, was a singer, and she would always take me, even when I was like in elementary school, really young. She would always take me to her like chorus concerts and rehearsals and all kinds of stuff. So, and I would be, you know, like 7 years old with all of these grandmas in this chorus, like singing these concerts. And so I remember going to those with her forever. And I just realized I love singing. And then pairing that with my mom with the country music, I grew up on Martina and Faith Hill and all those powerful women, and sort of copied what they were doing, and realized that I loved performing in front of people, I love singing in front of people. And so, and I didn't want to give up hockey either because I loved it. And so until the very last possible second, which was basically college, I was doing both pretty much full time, doing musicals and choir and singing and all kinds of stuff, and then playing hockey every day as well. So it was like my schedule was, I did not have a social life in high school. I don't think you can ask my parents, but I'm pretty sure I never went to one high school party. Like I never did anything social.
oh,
It was 5 a.m.
we
hockey through school.
we can talk forever about being antisocial. I hated I didn't go to I didn't go from kindergarten through now. It's like I didn't go through any dances. I didn't do anything. I didn't go to prom.
Yeah,
I didn't care. For one, it was like, I, what do I need this for? You know, it was like
yeah,
I'm going to stand in the corner and talk to probably my cell phone and act like I'm talking to somebody on the phone when there's nobody on the phone because they're all at the party.
yeah.
So why do I care?
I mean, that's how I was too. I was like, that stuff just wasn't, it just wasn't important. Like I wanted, there was just other things that I wanted to do more, and I just didn't feel like those things were important to me. And obviously they're super fun, and to do that kind of stuff is fun, and you know, whatever. But I just feel like in high school, I just was already thinking about college. And
Yeah.
so it was just like those things weren't a priority for me.
Mhm.
And, you know, I'm sitting here trying to, on days where I had a choir concert and a hockey game, I'm sitting here going in early to school to sing all my parts, all my soprano parts for the choir director, so that I didn't lose credit for the concert because I had to play a game the same night. So I'm like thinking about parties or dances or like things like that was like not even on my radar.
Do you ever feel that when you look back on, people you went to school with on social media that, damn, my life is just dragging on. People are getting married, people are having kids, and look at me. I'm just sitting because I feel the same exact fucking way. I'm sitting there and I'm like, this person already on her second kid, but I'm like, well, hang on, they're 23 or 24, which is kind of normal. But I'm sitting there looking at it like I'm way too freaking young for this. There's no way I'm ready for anything. Like I have two nephews, and I'm like, if I didn't want kids now, I definitely do not want them now. I'm like, no, there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see that. And I'm, you know, I'm 33. And so all my friends are, I mean, I'm literally going to a wedding this weekend. I have like 5 weddings this year that I'm going to. But, you know, all of my friends, you know, I'm older. And so all my friends are getting married and having kids and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh no, you know, you you don't want kids? And I'm like, I mean, I do, but I don't I don't see myself on a needing like a timeline. There's, you know, I have so many things I still want to do and accomplish for myself before I think about starting a family and that kind of stuff. And so, you know, some people might say it sounds selfish or it sounds whatever, but it's it's my journey, it's my path, and it doesn't have to be the same as yours. and yours doesn't have to be the same as mine. And so, you know, more power to everyone who is, like you said, you know, have a 9 to 5 and have a family at 24, 25, whatever. And that's your choice and that's your path. And if that's what makes you happy, then that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. But that's just not my path. That's not what makes me happy. What makes me happy is playing shows 5 nights a week and, you know, and writing music. And so it's just, everyone is different, and that time for me will come, and it'll be when it's my time.
I don't think that's selfish because I have those same thoughts as well. It's like, look, I know what I want to do, and I want to be. And I guess I do kind of have a timeline, but my timeline's kind of went to crap. And it's like, I
Yeah.
want all this to happen before something major like that happens. Sure, you may not can help it, but
Right.
I'm trying to help it as much as I can because
But if you
I don't-
can,
I'm not
yeah,
in I'm not in a relationship on purpose. I'm not this on purpose. I'm not this on purpose because I just have a certain stance of where I need to be and how I need to be. But I don't think it's selfish because you're not going to be the only one reaping from the benefits of what made you do it selfishly. Does that make sense? I don't know if that came out
exactly.
right, but
No, for sure. No, for sure. For sure. And that's, you know, my friends who are getting married, you know, I mean, I have four or five friends getting married this year, and, you know, a couple of them, will you sing at my wedding? I'm like, yes, I'll sing at your yes, I'll sing at your wedding, you know. And if I was in a different circumstance, then I probably wouldn't be able to do that for them. And I love being able to do that for them. And it's
how much are
just
you going to charge for them to sing at your wedding?
like the friendship rate, which is a high five.
$3.99.
I don't. Yeah, free 99 for my friends, which I probably shouldn't. Well, that's great. Now I'm gonna thank you. Now I'm gonna get all these. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I don't charge my friends for stuff like that. They're so supportive, and they've been so supportive throughout the years, and come to every show they can possibly come to and support me in every way possible. And so if singing at your wedding and not charging you for entertainment at your wedding is something I can do for you for what all the support you've shown me over the years, then I think it's okay.
Oh my God, with my sense of humor, I would, they were like, sing at the concert, what sing at the wedding. I would make such a big fool of it that they would not want me as a friend anymore. I would sing like, was that Buckle My Shoe? I would sing all those songs just to be funny, and they couldn't say anything. Like I would get the words wrong
You
on
just get up
purpose.
there and just
I would be like,
do
here's the great Garth Brooks song, and then it'd be something like Fergie or something like that. But
just get up there and just do my humps.
there
Just
you go. Well,
drop
shit.
the mic. Yeah, no, they yeah, my friend's wedding last year, actually, I did some of the girls' makeup.
Okay.
Then I was also the maid of honor, and I sang. I was like,
Mm,
this it's a long
mm.
day for me. It's a lot of jobs.
I want to know if you don't want to answer, if you don't have to, but I want to know what is the worst? What is the worst someone has ever offended you? I'll answer the same thing to make you more comfortable, but what is the worst thing someone has ever said that has just offended the shit out of you?
Said to me or asked me. It doesn't matter if it's a question or
It
a
doesn't matter.
statement.
Everyone hurts you more.
Um,
Or you could tell both if you want, whatever.
so I would say, I mean, this happens often actually, and it's like probably so random, but you know, playing hockey, I've been working out. I've been like basically a professional athlete most of my life, and you know,
Okay.
I have curves, and so I have people ask me if I've had butt injections.
Wait, so do they really do butt injections or is it like butt implants? Or
Apparently, they do both.
oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So
Apparently, they do both, and
okay.
yeah. So I have had a lot of people ask me that, and the only reason it's so offensive and I get so offended by it is because I've worked so hard to look how I look naturally that I'm like offended that it just looks like I went and bought it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's nuts. It
Yeah. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, really?
people
Just like, and then it's social media just ruining it for me.
but when a statement starts with, "I don't mean to offend you, but," don't say it. It's gonna offend you.
Yes.
It's gonna be offensive either way. So you can tell me not to get
That's what it is
offended.
every time.
Yeah, it's like
Please
you
don't
can
get
tell.
offended, but like,
Like now, if I'm saying something and it like is remarkable to that person, I'll go, "No offense to you," but I'm not talking about like if I would say, "I'm not talking about you, so no offense to you,"
oh
like
yeah.
then that's different. But if you just go, "No offense, are you doing butt injections?" That's kind of like, bruh, come on, bro. I'm gonna get offensive either way.
I
So just
know.
just come
The
out and
first
say it.
time, oh my gosh, the first time I was like, uh,
Yeah.
I gotta go. Like, I don't know. I'm out.
Well, my first question would be to them if they're like, "You get butt injections? Why does it look like it? Because if so, it's doing a
Yeah,
really
right.
good
Oh my gosh.
job."
Why do you ask? Why do you ask? So weird. Actually, no, it's just squats. Thanks though.
You could have also said, "All natural, baby."
Yeah, like thanks for assuming I cheated.
But is it? But is it cheating though if you do get in like let's take J Lo for
I
example.
mean,
People
yeah.
people people don't want to say J Lo has implant. She okay, forget she's worth a
Oh,
billion
for
dollars.
sure.
Please, Kim
Yeah.
Kardashian, all those people like that. But is it considered cheating though?
I mean, yeah.
Is it?
It's like a shortcut instead of working hard.
Okay, but are boob jobs like boob implants are those kind of a
I
because you
mean,
can't
I
fix
think it
that
depends
I
on the
guess.
I mean, yeah, no. I mean, you have no control over that. You
Yeah.
know.
It's like people that are on steroids and they just shoot up and they're like, "Yeah, dude, I do these 32s all day long." Like they can't even lift 15 pounds. And I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah. You're like, I just saw you do steroids in the locker room.
dude, 2 weeks ago, you were the size of a
Yeah.
thimble. Now, 2 weeks later, you look like fucking Hulk Hogan.
Like, listen, no one believes you.
You can fake it, but hey, fake it till you make it, I guess. And I guess making it would be how could you make it like faking steroids till you make it? I don't think you can make steroids. Unless you just kind of
You
blow
know,
up.
bodybuilding, like drug
I think those
like
bodybuilders are
body
all. I think bodybuilding they do steroids. I don't think there's no. I think they have. I think they have to.
sure. For sure. That is not natural. I mean, I don't even know what that is. I don't even that's just I
That's
mean,
gross.
I don't that's gross. Yeah, the gross is where yeah, that's just gross.
I mean, I read Arnold Schwarzenegger's book. God, m- while ago, probably years ago, and he was talking about bodybuilding and never mentioned steroids at all. And I'm like, from the pictures in the book, I'm like, dude, your
You're like
penis
waiting
had.
for it.
I'm like, your penis had more muscles than my legs do. Shut up. You have taken steroids.
You've shut your mouth and you're talking to me. You have taken steroids, sir.
Eh, the worst thing I've ever been asked. It's not worse, but like, are you pregnant? Because I'm a heavier set guy, and I always just say, I don't know, how far along is your mama? And then it always gets a good laugh. So I could turn it around easily.
Wait, that's so funny. I'm gonna have to tell that one to my brother. My brother just claps back at people all
No,
the
don't
time. I'm gonna
say
have to
that
tell
because
him
then
that
that's
one.
your mother. Then the joke wouldn't work then because if you're telling
Mhm.
your brother that, then he's got his mother
No,
is
I want my
pregnant.
brother to use that as a comeback.
Oh, okay, okay. I was like, well, I'm not going to be the next
No, I
Hills
want
Have Eyes type of thing here, but whatever.
no, I want my brother to use that as a
Okay,
joke.
I got you. Okay.
He's 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 a big jokester.
Now, what type of sense of humor do you have? Like, does it just vary? Because I'm a very dark. I love dark humor. I love stuff that's not supposed to be funny. Like when, and I know this is bad, but like when Bill Burr will make fun of like the quadriplegics or suicide, I just think that's so funny, even though it's not supposed to be, because it's taking a serious subject and making it funny. And and
I
I,
know.
I'm so
I think it depends on my mood.
really okay.
Yeah,
I'm
I think it
different.
depends on my mood. Sometimes it's dark. I mean, I mean, sarcasm is like my first
Oh,
language,
me
so
too.
I'm
Yep, I'm always so. And
sarcastic
it's
always.
always like, let me ask you this: if you're as sarcastic as I am, like people don't know how to take me in my personal life.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't know if you're being a dick or if you're being funny or if you're being serious.
Yeah.
I need you to come. But then it's like, I've done it my whole life.
But that's how you know you did a good job.
But you can't come down from it though. It's like you need to stop it and you need to get back in your regular mind. You kind of can't. Like, it's like you need to stop being anxious. How the fuck do I do that?
I've been on anxiety medication for 15 years. It's not
Me
happening.
too. I've been I were can you remember your first anxiety attack where you're like, I have to go to the doctor, something is
Thought I was
wrong?
having a heart attack. Thought I was having a heart
Really?
attack. Hmm. I was ended up in the emergency room. I thought I was having a heart attack. I had no clue what was going on.
Wow. I
Yeah, it was like
I
freshman year of college.
mine was no, I don't remember if I was I maybe I was a senior in high school, maybe I was 11th grade, something like that. But I remember I was in agriculture class and I was sitting there, not nervous about nothing, just had a normal day. I
Yeah,
was, I listened to music first block, didn't really have a care in the world. And then he goes, okay, guys, we're going to sit up here. You're going to do this and this. I'm fine. Next thing I know, I can't remember how to write my name on the piece of paper. And I
shut
blacked
up.
out. It was like, because thankfully my mom worked in the cafeteria at that point. And
Oh,
so
good.
apparently he had somebody literally walk me. Apparently I couldn't walk. I went numb, walked me to my
Yeah,
mother. And she was like, we have to effing go somewhere. I guess they were thinking I was having a stroke or something. It was, and then I go
yeah.
to the doctor and they give me some medicine. I come to, and they said, what happened? I was like, I just blacked out. I don't know nothing. And they were like, well, you have a serious anxiety disorder. And they're like, take Xanax. And I was like, okay.
Hmm. Yeah, same. It's crazy because I feel like that's part of the stigma of anxiety too, is it's not always like, obviously when you're having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, it's outward, but it's not always noticeable. Like you sometimes don't even know what's happening, but you could be so elevated on the inside and not even know. And then all of a sudden it hits you like it did to you. Like there's a lot of times where I look like I'm cool as a cucumber, but on the inside I'm like
Yeah.
freak.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, I don't like being addicted to the stuff, but I think I'm addicted to the stuff. And so I'll try to not take it. And then I'm laying in bed and I'm wondering, damn, I should have done this 2 years ago, because if I would have done this 2 years ago, this
Yep.
wouldn't have happened. And how am I gonna? I'm not gonna get 40 hours this week
Then
at
you
job.
just
So how am I gonna do? And I'm just like,
rabbit
okay,
hole.
it's 2 o'clock in the morning. It's 2 a.m. Go take your Xanax. You're gonna sleep late tomorrow, so cancel everything you've got and stay. And it's just like you have to do it. And it's just,
Like a vicious cycle.
and people are
It's a
like,
vicious cycle.
and I can't stand people. Facebook is the worst. And they're like, I will put something and they'll be like, no, you're just there for the government. The government, they control your, they're telling you have anxiety. And I'm like, why don't you tell my fucking brain that? Because if you told my brain,
Right.
it would probably pull out a gun and shoot you. Okay.
Tell,
So don't,
tell my heart rate that.
isn't it weird though? Isn't it weird though? Even though we just got past the presidential election, how everything is still so political and how long it's going to stay political.
Always.
Like, I could say this cup is red. No, Biden says it's blue, so it's blue. And I'm like, guys, I voted for Biden. So why the fuck do I care about I just like, oh my God.
it's it's just crazy. I don't even with my friends, I just we don't even talk politics. It's just not
I
even worth
don't
it. It's
either.
like
I can't do it at my
people have
family.
their own
Yeah.
no, and how I look at it is I'm like, everyone has their own opinion, everyone has their own views. You believe this, I believe this. It might be the same, it might not be. I'm never going to convince you to believe what I believe, and you're never going to convince me to believe what you believe.
A
So
hundred
why are we
percent,
arguing about it?
100%. And it's like,
Like,
I
let's
grew
just
up,
agree to disagree and keep moving.
I don't want to stay on this too long, but to match that point was I grew up again, very southern state, Mississippi. I grew up very Republican. And then once I grew up and had my own thoughts and my own feelings of what I think should happen, and I voted Democrat,
Mhm.
holy crap, you would think that I had committed murder and then said I didn't kill him. I'm like still eating off that burger, and I'm like, I'm gonna take another bite, maybe, maybe it's
Awesome.
gone bad, maybe it still has food. Oh my god! But I just decided to stop it. I'm like, if I'm gonna, it's just it's nuts, and
It's a whole mess.
I can't take social media sometimes. Like they're just so political, and people will
I
get
just ignore
pissed.
it.
Yeah, but
That's like
sometimes
I
it's
have people
hard.
ask me all the time. I have people ask me all the time, and I'm like, no, I'm not sharing my views. Wow, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's never gonna get me. It's never gonna get me anywhere. It has nothing to do with my career. It has nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like, why am I gonna say something that is for sure gonna offend at least half the population either way? So, like,
I look at it
you
this
know,
way. I
like,
look at it this way. I know I'm gonna piss people off, so I might as well make them mad doing something that I want to.
true. That's true. I just don't feel like I just don't have the
No, I
energy to
get it.
argue with
I
people.
get it. I get it.
And so I'm just like, if I don't say it, then I won't have to argue back.
I want to know this about social media since we're on that subject. I'm trying to figure out how to word the. Is there ever been a social media post, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that you have regretted posting?
Mm, I don't know. Sometimes I've had in the past few years, I've had some health issues. I had um really bad like gallbladder removal surgeries, like
Oh man, those are the
a
worst,
long
aren't they?
yeah, long story, but it's I'm still dealing with the consequences of it to this day, and it was like 4 years ago, and I've
Yep.
had 3 surgeries since then to fix
Oh,
things. And
wow. Okay.
so sometimes I post, like updates on that for people who have been following me that long, or just kind of stuff like that, or like old photos of post that first surgery, just just like stuff about my life. I like to share stuff about my life with people that follow me. And sometimes I regret posting those things because it elicits views very similar to politics of people trolling, or people saying things that aren't nice for no reason, and or like like, oh, you're just trying to get sympathy, or oh, you're blah blah blah. It's like, and I don't even respond back usually, but it's just every time that happens, I'm just like, why? Like,
Mhm.
this is why I rarely share that kind of stuff, because of this happens. And it's just so disheartening that it's an expected thing. Like, it's so disheartening that you can expect people to say mean things to you. Like, it's just crazy. And so sometimes I regret it because I'm like, I shouldn't have to defend myself in that right. And I end up finding that I have to, and then I just regret posting it all together. And sometimes I even just delete it.
Yeah. I made this post one time, and like I said, I always have this sarcastic type of dark humor vibe, and so I think it's something. I think it's mental, but for some reason, I think everybody has my same sense of humor, and they think everything that I think is going to be funny, they're going to think it's funny. And I was quoting this old Bill Burr bit where he was saying, you know, being being a stay-at-home mom is not the hardest job. Have you ever been in a 1,000-degree fire? Have you ever, and God forbid they lost your slipper and you have to look for. I had
Yeah.
seen somebody post about, oh my
Oh, I would have
goodness.
thought that was funny.
See, I wish you would have been there to at least laugh instead of all the freaking hate. Oh my God.
Oh, I'm sure it was like,
Oh my
you
God.
try being a stay-at-home mom.
I
Yeah.
was like, and people are like, you're going to get killed. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure people are gonna know
Yeah.
this is a joke. I had to go in there and
I
edit
mean,
the
they
post.
should.
I had to go edit the post and say this is all jokes because it. I was literally getting rattled, and people were sending me private messages, and I'm
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
"This is a
Oh, I'm sure.
joke." Which, believe me, being a single parent, or not a single parent, just a stay-at-home parent in general, or parent in general, is hard. But do I honestly think it's the hardest? Probably not. But that's just my honest opinion. It's hard. I never said it wasn't. But is it the hardest?
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, I'm not going out there putting. I
But
mean,
like
I'm
that's
not.
the thing. Like you shouldn't have to even elaborate like that. Like you should just it's a joke. It's a joke.
It's a
Like
joke.
like you shouldn't have to
Yeah.
be like, well, you know.
People are like, you should delete this before you get married, and I'm like, well, I'm not gonna delete this in 25 years. Okay, so whatever.
It'll be so far down my feed by then. No
Oh
one
my
will even remember
goodness.
it happened.
And then do you ever not post and then people like, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Why aren't you posting lately?
Oh
Have you
yeah.
I
Oh
didn't
yeah.
think I didn't think I was very popular until I got out of high school and I started posting all this funny stuff and all these posts on Facebook. And then you just go radio silent for 4 or 5 days, just nothing to say. And they're
No,
like, I would get text messages, bro, are you
what's wrong?
okay? What's going on, bro? And I'm like, uh, I'm literally laying in bed watching Netflix. Leave me alone.
Yeah, I will literally people text me, like my friends text me and be like, "Are you okay? Like, what's going on?" Like, yeah, I'm fine. What?
What are you watching right now on Netflix?
Well, it's not on Netflix, but I
Okay. Or just in
recently
general?
decided. Yeah, recently decided to start Game of Thrones from the beginning again.
Mm. Okay.
A couple weeks ago.
Now, let me ask you this.
So
This is coming from someone who has never watched Game of Thrones. People are like, you don't know what you're missing. But isn't it like 14 seasons and you have to pay attention to every 90-minute episode?
you do have to pay attention. It's 8 seasons. There's like 10 episodes a season,
That's still
and
80
you
movies that's 80 movies back to back that I have to watch and not take my eyes off
you
the
do have
TV.
to you
That's
do have to
effing
pay attention for
insane.
sure. You do, but it's so good. You will want to pay attention because you'll want to know what's going on, and it's
But is it
like,
worth the hype? Is it worth the hype everybody's saying
yes,
this is the greatest show of
oh
all
my gosh,
time?
so this is the third time that I've started it from the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that good. It's very similar to Schitt's Creek. I've watched the whole series of Schitt's Creek
Oh my
probably
god.
5 times.
I am, yeah. I you know, I was not a fan of Schitt's Creek because I've never seen it. And then probably they just did their final season. So it was the season before, I think, and they put it on
Yeah.
Netflix. And I was like,
Hmm.
people are talking about this show. I'm going to watch it. That is probably the greatest show ever made
Of all
in
time.
the
It is.
2010s. I'm like, because I was never a Eugene Levy fan, besides the American Pies, but I didn't think he was that
Yeah.
funny. But then when you put him with the chick from Home Alone, and it's just
Oh,
it's
genius.
brilliantly. I take it as I'm not a South Park fan, so I'm going to say the Family Guy of TVs because they can do
Yeah,
things that TV shows can't do, and they're not going to get hate for it because they all know it's a joke. Like
exactly.
they were making fun of a mentally retarded person on Schitt's Creek, and everybody was like, "That's the funniest reflection I've ever heard of it." But then I'm like, okay, if freaking what I don't even know what kind of show. Like it's just for example, Nickelodeon made fun of a mentally retarded person. We need to cancel them, and I'm like,
Yeah.
we need to do right there. We need to take Schitt's Creek, Eugene Levy, have them create a. I would love for them to create an adult cartoon. I would love that.
Oh, yes. That would be so good. That would be so good. I mean, I think honestly at this point, I could probably play every character on that series. I've watched it so many times.
See, I haven't watched it.
Like
That
I will just watch it every night.
I've watched it twice all the way through. I think, and it's a great show, but I don't think that it
I just
beats.
watch the reruns every night, like before bed.
Re- Wait, What channel does that come on? I don't have reruns on my TV.
Oh no, just like Netflix. I'll just go in and
Oh,
like
oh,
before bed
okay.
and just put on one of the seasons and just watch a couple episodes just because it's like I never get sick of it.
You know what I wish they would do? What Netflix or any kind of streaming service would do. So right now, my favorite streaming service is probably Peacock because I'm such a fan of the King of Queens. Everybody loves Raymond. All those 90s shows like that. I
Yeah.
grew up with them. My mom watched them, and so I always watched them. And I have seen every episode of that and Roseanne and Full House probably literally probably 50 something times. And so my TV is always on TV Land or it's on Comedy Central or something like that, watching The Office or something.
Mm-hmm.
I wish they would have a button on one of the streaming services where you could just click shuffle. You could shuffle that series and it would just come up with
Oh,
random episodes because that's how I go to sleep at night.
that would
Like
be so good.
I go to sleep with I know the TV schedule, so I know I'm like, okay, if I have to go to bed because 2.5 Men come on here, then Everybody Loves Raymond comes on at 8. That stays on till 10:30. Then King of Queens happens, so I know it. And then I'm like, if I'm not, if I'm in like in a hotel or something and they have Netflix, they don't have cable, I can just click shuffle, and I don't have
Yeah,
to watch from season
if you're at
one.
home.
Right, that would
Right.
be the most genius thing a streaming service would
I
do.
agree.
Hey,
Completely
streaming
agree.
services, if you're freaking listening,
Yeah,
you need to.
you're
I need
listening.
some payroll for that. I came up with that.
We heard it here first. The Office, that reminds me of Parks and Rec. I love Parks and Rec too.
I've never seen Parks and Rec. I don't know. I don't
Oh
know
my
if it's as good as
gosh.
I don't know if it's as good as The Office. People say it's
It
funny,
is.
but I don't want it to
It is.
ruin. I don't want it to ruin.
It won't. It's oh my gosh. It is just
I don't
it
find.
kills me.
I don't. It's Chris Pratt's in that, right? The dude from the new Jurassic Parks.
Mhm. Yeah. But he plays a complete idiot.
But I don't
So
find
great.
him. I don't find him funny though. And I think
So
that's what's
funny.
I think that's what's keeping me from watching it because I don't find him funny. Like he
But
playing the
there's
Marvel.
so many
Uh,
comedians in it that are phenomenal.
right. It does have it.
Just watch a few episodes.
Is it on Netflix?
Mm, I don't know. I think Amazon.
Okay. It does have Aziz Ansari, so I'm kind of that may
Mhm.
play into it. I may watch that. I think Aziz is a kind of funny in his own way.
He's hilarious. I mean, it's just a combination of characters in it. It's just genius.
Look, as we wind down here, we're going on an hour already. But as we wind down, there's a couple more questions for you, and we'll let you go here.
Okay.
Um, I kind of do these every random episode every now and then, but I'm gonna do them with you, and it's called quick answer, quick question. So what I'm gonna do is
Oh, gee.
I'm gonna ask you a quick question. You're gonna give me a quick answer. Then in return,
Okay.
you're gonna give me a quick question, and I have to answer.
Oh, geez.
So we got to get
Okay.
it off. We have to figure out how fast your brain is.
I mean, it's not that fast right now. I haven't had coffee today.
Don't even get me started on
Nervous.
the. Don't even get me started on coffee being fake for you. But anyways, what's the last book you've read?
Girl on a Train. Um, how many siblings do you have?
I have two. What is your favorite instrument of all time? Either you play it or you don't play it.
Piano. What's your favorite TV show of all time? Just talked about.
Probably the King of Queens.
Solid.
Which band is better, Fleetwood Mac or Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers?
Oh my goodness. That's just a rude question.
That's a good question. That just came off the top of my head. That's a fantastic question.
Oh, it's rude. I love Tom Petty. Tom Petty. What's your favorite sport?
Man, I don't watch sports, but if I had to say wrestling, probably. I know that's not considered a sport, but whatever.
Yeah. Fun fact about wrestling: my mom dated Hulk Hogan for a few years when she was in her 20s.
Wait, all right. We are stopping this right now because I have a fucking question. So you're now, is this just a story she's told you, or is this
You're gonna kill me that I just said that.
or you've had proof?
What?
I said, is this just a story she's told you, or is there proof? Like, have you seen proof?
Oh no. Yeah. Oh yeah. Every time my brother and I make fun of her about it, she's always like, "You guys, his name is Terry." We're like,
Now you said I don't want to put your mom out there. I don't want to put your mom out there. But how old is she? So I can get a range of how old Hulk Hogan was when they were dating.
she's 62.
Okay, so 40. He's about the same age, huh? So he's probably just now starting out wrestling, or just in like the AWA type of vibe there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I don't want to ask your mom's name on thing, but I just read Hulk Hogan's book. I want to I want to see if he talks about her in the book. And I'm like, shit, here we go.
Yeah, she was really young, and she was a mud wrestler at the time, which is also going to kill me for saying that too. But yeah,
Now,
it's
fun
like my only
fact.
wrestling fact.
Here is a fun fact. It's not wrestling, but it's about. So when Elvis Presley, right after he went into the military, my grandmother's father serviced Elvis's guitar at a gas station. So he filled it up, washed the windshield, and got a receipt, and stole the receipt from the gas station because Elvis Presley signed it Elvis Presley. Now, if you ask me, I am the biggest Elvis Presley nerd. I've read every book about Elvis. I have every single vinyl record Elvis has ever put out.
That's so cool.
She will not give me that receipt. I'm like, will you please give me the receipt? And she always comes up with, I don't know where it's at. She won't even show it. She won't even show it to me. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? Rip
She's
it?
got it in a locked state
Yes,
somewhere
she
that
has
she's
it.
never going to tell you
She
about.
has it somewhere, and I'm like, all right, go ahead, because I'm not. I'm gonna pull the plug when you're sitting there dying on the deathbed.
Make sure to put that in your will.
There you go. Has a will. That's probably bad, but all right. Let's talk about this new EP before we jump off here. Do you have a new EP coming out this year?
Yes. So Something Like That, the single that just came out, is the first single off of it. And the EP, the rest of the songs on the EP are being mixed and mastered right now. And it's going to be a 5-song EP. And it'll be out probably in the fall, I'd say, but definitely this year for sure. I'm really excited about it.
So, why was there a 3-year wait? Because didn't you wait a long time to put it out?
I did. And then I kind of realized that I was apparently like a 3-year wait in between each project is apparently my thing. Like I looked back and I think it was about the same in between my first and second albums. So apparently that's my my trend, which I should probably break because that's way too long. Way too long. But I was touring a ton, so it was like writing was kind of in the back burner because for those couple of years I was constantly on the road touring. So it kind of now, and then COVID hit, and then I was like had to switch up the creative outlet from playing shows to let me get back in the studio and do a project. So
Well, look, I'm going to play something like that when we get off here for the crew listening, and this is going to be up in a few weeks, so it's not live or anything; it's pre-recorded. Don't know if Rachel passed. Don't know if Rachel passed all that long, but look, I know this probably isn't the best interview, or I don't even call this an interview. I call this a chat. But I hope everything went well, and I appreciate you coming on.
I love this format. No, this is great. I've had some people do podcast interviews where it's like, I just want to give you a list of my rules. I'm like,
I used to do that starting out. I used to be like, look, there's no rules. You can say what you want. But then it was just like, well, that's cutting into my hour. That's cutting into my hour and a half. And it's just like, screw it. Just jump right in as soon as they as soon as you pick
Yeah.
up it, we start recording, and it's like that's the thing. You don't know when I'm going to start recording, so it's like you better
Yeah.
be prepared.
No, I love this format. It makes it more, it seems more like I don't know, disingenuine when it seems rehearsed, I guess. I like this format a lot.
Yeah, I don't like unless like I'm asked to have a list of questions, because usually I say, look, I don't have a list of questions because I think that's being not overly too prepared, but I'm not going to be paying attention to the person that I'm talking to
Yeah.
because I'm going to be focused on the questions that I'm going to be writing. And I don't like that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I
Yeah,
will if
my
I
team, I
absolutely
think my
have
team,
to, but
yeah, I mean, I think my team, they know that I don't care. I mean, I'll talk to anybody about anything. So they like, um, they throw me everything. They throw me all types of vibes and different methods of stuff. And I just roll with it.
well, Elena, thanks for giving me an hour of your time. Go ahead, take as much time as you need,
Thank
and
you so much.
promote whatever you want to promote.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Yeah. I guess on social media, it's just Alannah McCready music across the board for anyone that wants to follow me. And then my website's just alannahmccready.com. And yeah, something like that's available on all platforms. And if you follow me on any of the social media platforms, I'll post updates on when the rest of the music is coming.
Well, Elena, again, thank you for doing this. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I had fun.
All
This was fun.
right, we'll do this again soon. When your EP comes out, we'll get on here. We'll have a cool chat
Yes.
again.
Yes, I would love that.
All right, have a good one. Thank you.
You too. Have a good night.
All right, bye.